going live again on a Tuesday. I'm really enjoying these shows. I'm just going to give a couple minutes for the people that are joining us live to pop in. And yeah, so the reason why I'm really enjoying these lives is because it actually allows me to really keep in touch and to stay relevant with really what's going on with the market amidst this whole COVID-19 thing, and how the restaurant market is really reacting to this whole thing. And actually, we've been seeing a lot of positive feedback from restaurant owners telling us that the stuff that we're sharing, the strategies, the actionable tactics that we're sharing is actually quite helpful, and they're actually able to implement these tips, these hacks, and everything within their business to actually help them out. And so it's quite, I would say, it feels like I'm doing something good when everyone else is kind of suffering. So really, really happy to be able to do this for you guys on the other end. So that's that. Hey, Jason, is it working right now? Are you hearing it? Alrighties. Yeah, so super excited. We're just going to get started within the next 2-3 minutes, I would say. Let some of the people join, and then we are good to go. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 actionable tips to prevent your business from going bankrupt. This is a super important episode because a lot of people have been asking about, how they can maneuver through this whole crisis. And so these are the things that I personally am doing myself, and I want to share with you because it's been shown to be super effective. So that's that. Jason, we good? How's it sound?
Yeah, it's working.
Working? Everything's working? That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the 4 actionable tips to prevent your small business and restaurant from going bankrupt. Let's get started, eh? Okay, so just an agenda for today's show. I'm going to be covering the presentation in the first half. We're going to be talking about the 4 tips to avoid bankruptcy. A lot of people need to listen to this, even if you are not in the process of going through bankruptcy. This is to know the facts that can prevent you from getting to that position and how far you are away from it. And the reason, no one wants to talk about bankruptcy, but it is something that we should be aware of, and it's something that we should talk about so we know and that we prevent ourselves from getting there. And that's precisely the point of this whole presentation. And then we're going to be covering some articles that I'm seeing online that's outrageous, and some of the stuff that I want to share with you guys. And then it's Q&A time. My favorite activity is Q&A time, because Q&A is really what really extracts everything from here to you guys, and I can't wait to be able to go into all the questions with you guys. So make sure that you guys hit the like button and show us that that you guys are here, because at the end of the day, I'm having a bunch of delays when I'm seeing this, so I'm not sure if I'm just babbling on and no one's really watching, or if you guys are here, smash the like button, show me that you guys are here. And also, actually, it would be really, really cool if you guys can leave in the comment section below where you guys are from, so then that way I can really tailor my conversation to what I'm seeing within your area. For example, we have someone from Georgia town, which is the reason why we're doing articles about Georgia. And so leave me in the comment section below and tell me where you guys are from. Okay, let's get started on this. So there's just a little bit quick background about me for some of you guys that don't know me. We have actually been operating an ice cream shop, turned it into an ice cream chain in the last 5 years. Recently got acquired, top 30 under 30. So that's really a little bit about me, but who cares? First thing first, guys, business health check. Like an annual medical checkup, it's super important to understand whether your business is sick or not, and even specifically super important in this time and in this age, because we need to understand how we're going to be, how much longer we can survive in this whole crisis. Should we shut the doors, or should we continue to swim like no tomorrow? What is it that we need to actually do and understand in order for us to maneuver through this whole crisis? Meanie, your message just came through from Florida. Amazing job. I'm actually planning to visit Florida, so definitely hit you up. So for us to actually diagnose our business health, to see where we are, that we're bleeding money left, right, and center, and to actually see where the inefficiencies are is super crucial in order for us to actually pivot and make those little changes in order for us to avoid being bankrupt, or actually know and understand which levers to pull in order for us to actually be able to benefit from that and make more money, right? So that's the end goal of this whole presentation. Okay, the number one tip to avoid your bankruptcy is to actually understand your vital signs. So in business, no one really teaches you about what your vital signs are. And with us, whenever, like for example, whenever we are hurt, we go to the hospital and, hey, how's it going, Josh? From Surrey, BC. Awesome, we should definitely connect. I'm from Vancouver. So think about this, whenever we get hurt and we are admitted to the hospital, so what happens right away? The nurses and the doctors take your vital signs right away. And why is that the case? Because they need to understand and diagnose what exactly is happening within your body in order for them to give you and administer the proper remedy to fix your situation, which is the reason why vital signs are super important. But in business, no one talks about the vital signs. No one talks about how important it is and how well you're doing, which is the reason why, as business, we need to understand our vital signs. And today we're going to be talking about the 4 vital signs that determine how healthy your business is. And this is just like very, very surface level, and which is the reason why it is super easy for you to grab these data. And the first thing is your cash balance, right? The cash balance of all your banks, and basically that's very self-explanatory. Go to your bank and understand how much cash reserve you would have. Second thing is your account receivables. A lot of people, they let their account receivables stack up every single throughout the months, and before you know it, they would have tens of thousands of dollars on account receivables. And account receivables such as, your suppliers, you have a credit with them, or you did a catering event and you're just basically waiting for someone to pay you back the 50%. But because you're always slammed in working in your business, you forget about these account receivables, and in turn, there are situations, and some of my clients that have tens of thousands of dollars left in account receivables that they still need to collect. So that's an area where you're going to be able to see your vital signs that, hey, you know what, these are the cash reserves that I would have, and then these are the remaining balances that I need to be able to retrieve. And the third is cash flow from operations. So cash balances and cash flow from operations are a little bit different. Cash flow is basically how the money is coming in. For example, like let's say the bank is holding $10,000 from you because it's a wire transfer, whatever the case may be, or let's say your payment processing team or the software, POS, Square, Toast, they're holding a bunch of your cash, and basically you need to account for those money that's coming in, and also all the cash checks that you have issued for your suppliers whatsoever. And now after identifying basically all the monies that are coming in and all the money that are going out, you would have a very clear sense of how much money is really sitting at your bank and sitting at your disposable, because at the end of the day, you don't want to write 10, 15 checks that's eventually going to bounce because you're not aware of your cash flow and you're not aware of your cash balances. And then fourth thing to understand and really identify within your business is your variable and fixed expenses. Now let me elaborate more on what variable and fixed expenses are, because as your business right now, the more that you can identify the fixed expenses and your variable, the more you actually understand what are some of the expenses that, even if you don't open shop, how much are you paying? Some of the fixed expenses would include your rental cost. Your rental cost that you signed a 5-year lease on is a fixed expense. You open or you close, it is still something that you need to pay. Same with utilities, but actually utilities is a variable expense. Same with payroll. Payroll is a variable expense as well. The more people you employ, the more payroll that you need to fork out. Same thing with cost of goods sold. So identifying your fixed expense allows you to understand, if you were to carry on this whole time without opening your doors, let's say for the next 6 months, what's going to happen? How much do you need to afford for your fixed expenses, let alone your variable, right? So then that way it really allows you to see how healthy your business is. if you guys haven't done this exercise, I really recommend you to actually just sit down and open up an Excel sheet. Let me share with you my Excel sheet so then you can actually see, what is it exactly that I'm doing. It could be as simple as having a sheet like this, right? Something like this, super simple with an Excel sheet. Hey, you know what? These are my personal expenses. These are my business expenses, and my property expenses, my revenue expenses, whatsoever. And then these are the cash flows that we're talking about. These are the different bank accounts that I have. And actually, on this note, this does not include my actual expenses within my whole business because I have a lot of different businesses. I'm just putting in down stuff that I need to see from a very high level up, and each of my business has its own different cash flow sheets and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, me showing this to you, and I actually basically hide all the columns so then that way, because confidential and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm showing you this is so then that way you understand it doesn't have to be some elaborate systems that you need to set up. You can simply just identify your expenses, identify what are fixed, what are variables, identify your cash flows, how much cash is in your bank, how much money are you waiting for it to come in, and then you're going to be able to really identify how well you're doing within your business and how long you can stay afloat for throughout this whole crisis. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. If it did, make sure that you guys leave me in this comment section below that, hey, you know what, we're good to go for the next tip to avoid bankruptcy. Totally, Ali. You talked about business insurance doesn't stop. That is so true. That is a fixed expense as well. I pay that on a yearly basis, and insurance are you there for their premiums? Insurance companies you're there for their premiums, but it totally, like all the insurance expenses, the utilities you still have to pay, and identifying it allows you to actually budget for it accordingly. So super important, and I bet you 95% of the people out there don't have this written down. They're basically just rolling in the dark. They don't know exactly what's going on within their business. They don't look at their P&L. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not exciting. Marketing is exciting. Operation is exciting. But knowing your vital signs really identifies exactly where within your business are the leaky holes, right? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to pour water in a bucket when it's full of holes. We want to patch up all the holes to ensure that we actually are able to actually reap the rewards of us doing business, right? Share a quick story with you. I have a friend that runs a poke store, and he's been running it, and it's been doing super amazing. Line up outdoor doors every single day, even in today's age. We're talking about amidst this whole COVID-19, his shop is just busy as hell. But then later on, when we were doing an exercise together to see how profitable he is, he was actually breaking even. And the reason why he has lined up out the doors is because he was not charging enough, because he didn't actually calculate all his expenses and to ensure that everything is factored into the price. Even if he's not making money and breaking even, he's just breaking even on his own labor. He didn't even account for other people's labor, which is the reason why he decided to take out the special, and basically he's worked a whole month for free for nothing. And at the end of the day, it's just doesn't make sense, because we're in business to make profit, right? So that's just a quick story for you to make sure you identify your vital signs. Okay, now if we don't have any questions, we're gonna jump into tip number 2. Check your inefficiencies, guys, and make sure that if you guys have any questions, leave in the comment section below, because Jason will actually compile all the questions that you have, and I'm going to be able to answer them one by one at the end of the whole presentation. It's something that a lot of our audience have been raving about, because they feel like it's very actually tailored in conversations that we're having, and it's much more dynamic, right? Instead of me just presenting, I'm actually engaging with you guys, right? So make sure you guys ask your questions below, and then that way I can answer all your questions. The second tip, guys, check inefficiencies. This is super important. What are some of your inefficient assets that are out there? What are some of your cash burn rate? What are some of your excess fats? What are some of your lofty expansions that you have in place? I'm going to go through it each one by one. So to just elaborate a little bit, inefficient assets. Okay, so for example, do you have items out there that you can actually liquidate in order for you to have more cash flow? An example with our ice cream shop, when we were first operating, we have actually 3 to 4 ice cream machines that we pre-purchased years in advance because we were able to get a bulk deal, and each of these machines were $10,000 each. So we have 3 or 4 of them just lying around for almost like 2 years with no maintenance, no nothing. And because of the fact that we did not do regular vital sign checks and stuff like that, it was like 20-30K that was sitting there. And that's on one end. On the other end, we were pulling our hairs out because we were so short on cash flow, because we were expanding so quickly, and we're trying to figure out, hey, you know what, where can we get some more cash from? And at the end of the day, we need to go to the bank, and we're paying like 8% premium on our 30K loan, whereas we were sitting on 30K ourselves already. Why didn't we liquidate the ice cream machines? And then that way we can get the cash, and then that way we can expand and not pay the 8%. And that's just an example of an inefficient asset that was out there that we just have an oversight on. So within your business, within your cafe, within your whatever that you have, there are 100% inefficient assets that are lying around. It's basically doing garage sale, going through and digging out all the different items within your garage to see, hey, you know what are some of the valuable items? My wife just sold our PS3 for $100, which is amazing. I'm like, how did you sell it for $100? So apparently a lot of people throughout this whole crisis is buying a lot of these game consoles because they have nothing else better to do. And as a result, it pushed up all the different prices because the demand was up. Same thing within your business. Look at the different assets within your business to see what are some of the assets that you can possibly liquidate in order to help you pass through this tough time. Second thing is your cash burn rate. Identifying, basically, we talked about the cash balance. We talk about the cash flow from your operations. Identifying these and identifying your variable and your fixed expenses would allow you to see what your cash burn rate is. So, for example, every single month, if we're not bringing in any money, we're spending $20,000. That's our cash burn rate. And that's for me. Okay? I don't know about you. I don't know about your business. But if, for example, this whole crisis carries on and we're under quarantine for the whole year, can we survive for a whole year? Can we survive for 6 months? I need to understand and I need to identify whether we can or we cannot. Because if we cannot, then we need to start cutting down on these fixed expenses that we're talking about, getting out of leases and having payment deferrals, whatever the case may be, in order for us to live to fight another day, which is the reason why cash burn rate is so important for you guys. So if you have a lot of restaurant owners right now are under the dilemma of whether they should close down shop and wait until the economy picks up, wait until the city allows you to open it back up and then do business again, or should they just close down indefinitely, right? A lot of restaurant owners are facing this dilemma. So at the end of the day, how can they even justify and how can they even identify whether they should do one or the other without understanding the vital signs? And until they have this clarity on how their business is doing, they cannot make this decision in a very smart and clear way, which is the reason why identifying these are super important. Okay, third thing to understand is packing excess fat. And what does that mean? Okay, so for me, my excess fat are different subscriptions that we're paying for every single month. As business were booming, we were subscribed to a lot of different things that we're paying on a monthly basis, but these are nice to have. These are not must to haves. And during the time of crisis, we need to cut out anything that is excess. Okay, so even for example, QuickBooks, we usually have payrolls of up to 100 staff per month. So with QuickBooks, we're paying hundreds of dollars every single month because we have this feature. And because of the fact that we don't have 100 staff to pay anymore, we're actually disabling and unsubscribing from their services to save $100 every month. And this can actually add up very, very quickly when you have many different subscriptions, which is the reason why identifying your excess fat is so important because at the end of the day, you could be saving thousands of dollars every single month, which you didn't know of. And then last but not least, lofty expansion. So if you have any expansion ideas or expansion plans or projects that you're working on, identifying those expenses would allow you to actually maybe shelf it until things are right, and really identifying on your core business, which allows you to actually bring in revenue, is what is key in this moment. But if you don't identify it, and have clarity in terms of what is it that is an expansion pack versus something that you're just pivoting and making changes and adapting to the environment today in order for you to bring in more revenue, then you can't make that choice, and you cannot make that educated decision that we're talking about, which is the reason why identifying these things are super crucial for your success, guys. Hopefully that makes sense, because at the end of the day, as boring as it sounds, it is super important for you to be able to identify this to avoid losing out more and more money, which at the end of the day could possibly push you into bankruptcy. And so I've done this exercise with all my clients and whatnot, and they were surprised by how much money they're bleeding out because they were not aware of it. And as business owners, what we do is we push all the ugly stuff under the rug and we just focus. And as long as we survive, we just live to fight another day. And that's the reason why it's a good time for us to identify all these different things that are inefficiencies that are happening under the rug. So that's tip number 2, super effective. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So, give me a like button. Hit the like button just so I know that you guys are still around, you guys are still awake for this presentation. And once again, if you guys have any questions, leave in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer for you guys. All right, moving on, guys. Check your funding. Okay, so in the first 2 tips, we talked about identifying basically all the different ways to cut your expenses. Tip number 3 is to identify your sources of additional funding when you need it. You tap into it right now when you don't need it. Okay, a lot of people make this mistake, and I really need to emphasize this, is that they get their funding and they apply for funding when they need it, and that's not how funding should work. You need to identify it, you need to apply for funding when you don't need it. So in the case that you actually need it, then you can have it at your disposal right away. A lot of people make the mistake of applying for these things when it's too late, and that's the reason why they're paying like 20% interest year over year on loans and stuff like that. Whereas there are a lot of additional funding programs out there that allows you to have really short, really long amortization period and really low interest rate, even at this time with all the fundings available. So the first place to look at in terms of really expanding your credit line is payment deferrals. So if you have your own location, if you're looking at your own mortgage and stuff like that for your restaurant, then it's a really good time to actually talk to your bank and your lenders to see what they can do with deferrals. And I can tell you from first-hand experience that they are willing to defer your payments, or they're willing to defer and pause your principal payments for up to 6 months, and you're only paying interest. And that's exactly what we're doing with our properties as well, is to defer our payments as much as possible. And why is that the case? It is because we want to reserve as much cash flow as possible in order for us to actually, outlast this whole COVID-19 thing, right? So even if you don't need those deferrals, you need to ask for it right away, because you never know when it's going to hit you. You never know when you're going to need that extra cash flow. That's the reason why deferrals are super important. Now, aside from asking for deferrals for your mortgage, if you don't have that, then ask for deferrals for everything else. So we're talking about any of the utilities that you may have, deferrals in property tax whatsoever, or even if you're renting, asking for deferrals is something that a lot of people are doing. So if you're not doing that already, make sure that you guys do that. Once again, cash flow is king. Okay. Additional funding. Additional funding is something that you should definitely apply for. There are a lot of banks within your area that really focuses on helping small businesses out. Identify those companies and identify those associations and actually go and apply for them right now. Once again, you may not need the funding right now and in today, but in the future when you need it, that's when you're going to thank yourself. And which is the reason why there's so many different times I've encountered people that would need funding, and because they don't have the foresight to see and to actually plan ahead, they end up selling their assets that under market value just so that way they can get more cash. That's the reason why you see a lot of foreclosures for properties. That's why you see a lot of property values or even stocks that they have to sell at a loss just so that way they can liquidate some of their cash. And you don't want to be that person that's selling at a loss, and it's just unfortunate, right? So apply for these things before you need it, and that's definitely something that you should definitely do. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And these are stuff that I personally am doing, and which is the reason why I'm sharing with you what's working. So hopefully you guys would appreciate this. And it's not something that, in theory it would work. No, in reality it works, and in reality I'm practicing these things. I'm practicing what I'm preaching. So definitely hit that like button, and so then that way I know you guys are still around. The fourth is diagnose. Okay, so after you have identified everything, it is super important for you to create an action plan, so then that way you understand very clearly what you need to do in the coming months, because identifying these things are great. Knowing is half the battle. The other half of the battle is to actually do something with it, to follow through with it. So if you have identified your inefficient assets and you want to be able to liquidate it for, let's say, $20,000 or whatever the case may be, then create an action plan. Say in the next month you're going to be able to sell this at this price, and you're going to follow through with it, and by, let's say, in 2 months down the road you're going to have this much cash reserve that you have fixed or that you have saved. So that way it keeps yourself accountable. Without an action plan, just by identifying your account receivables, people owing you money, or identifying expenses that you can cut but not really cutting them, it means nothing. It's just basically knowledge, and you can just Google everything, and there's no point of having these statistics on an Excel sheet if you're not going to do anything about it, which is the reason why having an action plan is super crucial to your success. Okay, guys? And once again, let me share with you guys what I'm doing, so then you guys can have an idea of what potentially I'm talking about. So as you can see right here, I have my action plan of 2020, and basically I've identified my cash balance, my account receivables, cash flow from operation, cash burn rate, and all these things I'm talking to you about. And within the different columns, I identified what we have and identified what we want to achieve and by which month. And me just looking at this is allowing me to actually see, am I actually working one step closer to getting into that healthy position that I want to be? Just like how if you are admitted to the hospital for whatever reason, they need to identify your vital signs, and they need to have a game plan about, hey, you know what, I need to inject this, and then I need to monitor their signs again to make sure that, the medicine that I'm admitting is actually working, right? So which is the reason why it's super crucial for you to actually diagnose and actually have an action plan for your business. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys, and that's how you can actually save yourself from going into bankruptcy. A lot of people get into bankruptcy in a situation that they feel like they have no choice. They feel like that, oh damn, I'm stuck in this situation, and my last choice that I can make is going bankrupt. Or that, the whole crisis and the pandemic forced me into this position. Well, it doesn't have to be like that. You can identify exactly where you are, so then that way you make the choice of maneuvering in the right direction, that allows you to fight another day, rather than being pushed into a corner by being a victim. That's not the right mindset, and we need to be able to do everything in our powers in order to make sure we become profitable and that we're going to be in business even after this whole crisis blows by. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. Otherwise, we are going to blow right by everything today. It seems like that we are not having too many questions, which is good. Does this make sense to you guys? I think it's super helpful. I really wish when I started business 10 years ago, someone shared this with me, because that would save me a lot of trouble and a lot of unnecessary expenses that I actually had to fork out. Okay, now that we are done with this presentation, we are going into our next section of our show. Okay, so if you guys want to learn more about and have templates of, how do you identify and action plans and stuff like that, definitely check out my 2 videos on YouTube that talks about business health, and we go into really deep dive detail. There's 2 videos on it. There's part 1 and part 2, and Jason's going to leave it in the comment section below, so then that way you can actually see what we are actually doing and really elaborate on that. And that's it for now. 2 other must-watch videos that I really want to be able to recommend you guys is Successful Restaurant Owners Are. Basically, all the different qualities you need in order for you to survive this whole crisis is super important. And these are things that I'm sharing with you from my colleagues, my friends, and my peers that are doing super successful as restaurant owners. And then the next video that I highly recommend you guys to watch is One-on-One Restaurant Management Tips. It is basically an interview that I did with, what's her name? Audrey, right? Audrey. So Audrey, a quick side story. Audrey flew all the way from Brunei over and paid us a visit because she was really thankful from our services, and basically she's just a big fan, and it's something that I'm super happy and fulfilled because I'm able to help someone across the world with their business. And so yeah, we had a one-on-one consultation, and I was super excited to be able to share all the goodies and nuggets with her. So if you guys want to be able to see that, definitely check out that video. Once again, all the links are in the description. Okay, JP, thank you for sharing this. Thank you for your encouragement and your support. That's basically why I'm doing this, is because if I can share my insights to help 1 or 2 of you guys out there, that would make a world of a difference at the end of the day, because honestly, it would mean that I can save a family or 2 out there, and which is the reason why I'm doing this, quite frankly. There's really not much more that I can gain from this, but nonetheless, I really hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to jump into the next section. Tommy Yip, thank you for your encouragement as well. Shout out to you, Tommy. And once again, if you guys have any questions specifically to your case, I would highly recommend leaving in the comment section below, so then that way we have some comments, we have some questions that we can answer for you guys. A lot of people actually flood my inbox every single week with different questions, and at the end of the day, I find it super helpful in order for them to actually get a better insight through face chat, and which is the reason why we incorporated into this segment. Nonetheless, okay, so one thing that I really want to be able to grill into you guys is the ACE formula, because it's super helpful and it allows me to actually excel in all my different businesses. And it's something that is a principle that I follow when doing business, and it's something I want to share with you guys because it is so important and crucial for all my successes. Okay, my success in selling multiple different companies, managing a team of over 100 people, all this comes from this formula, and it's something that basically I extracted from it. So just to re-elaborate, alignment is super crucial for your success. We're talking about alignment before any marketing, before any of the stuff and strategy, tactical stuff we need to do. We need to understand what we stand for as a human being, why we are creating this business, what are our values, because people don't buy stuff, okay? People buy into you, and you are the one that people are buying into. So if you don't identify your values, if you don't have a story that you're telling, if you don't tell people what mission you're on, people can't connect to it, and there's no way they'll buy from you. So it's the same thing with a business, running a restaurant, or same thing with a business running an event business. It's the same thing. You need to align everything together into one place, which is the reason why you guys are watching this live, is because you guys believe in my values subconsciously. You're like, hey, you know what? This guy's not driving a Lambo around flexing like crazy. No, I align with this guy's value, which is the reason why I'm investing my time in watching this guy's video. It's because in some way, shape, or form, you guys are connected to me because we have this alignment. So identifying your values for your business is crucial for your success. Second thing is to connect with your audience. Connecting, guys. We're connecting right now through live. Wherever your customers are, you need to be able to connect them. You need to be able to give them tons and tons of value, whether it be live, whether it be Instagram, whether it be YouTube, whether it be blog articles. You need to understand your customers to the T of what exactly they're looking for. What are some of the stuff that that scares them, right? So that's the reason why I'm creating this presentation on bankruptcy, because people are messaging me about it. People are scared that their business will fold. Well, then that's why I'm creating content to connect with my audience. And at the end of the day, connection is super crucial. You don't sell stuff if you don't connect to people. If you don't have that trust, if you don't connect with them, and you just throw them an offer, then there's a very transactional relationship. And if it's transactional, people are not gonna buy, because there's so many different options out there. There's always another deal. There's always a discount. And if you don't connect with them on that level, subconsciously, then it's not going to work. And lastly, then we talk about explosion. Then we talk about the different marketing tactics, the sexy stuff, the stuff that actually you see out there, the buy one, get one frees, the happy hour, the 20% off, the tag me, the giveaways. These are all explosion tactics and strategies that you can just Google online. There's tons of them that allows you to do it, and running Facebook ads and so on and so forth. But we don't do that until we align, until we connect, until we build that trust and that foundation. And then we work on explosion tactics. And that's how we're able to actually get tons of success. Business is not a game about just running promotions and just having everything there for your customers and make it transactional. It just doesn't work like that. So hopefully this makes a little bit of sense of you. If you guys have any questions and want me to elaborate on this a little bit more, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And as Jason was saying, we actually have an ultimate restaurant course to help people and teach people exactly how we were able to build our ice cream shop into an ice cream chain that recently got acquired. And basically it's everything that we've created, all the templates, all the worksheets that we've used, and actually stuff that we've used to negotiate more than 6 months of free rent, guys. 6 months of free rent. So imagine 1 month of rent is, let's say, $1,000, $2,000. 6 months of free rents, that's $12,000 of real money that you're able to save through the tactics that we use and through the different templates that we have. Basically, it's an A to Z solution of everything that we've done. We documented the whole process of what we've done, and then we put it out there to help people out. And that's exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Aside from all the different other businesses that I run, this is by far one of the best things that I've done that's out there. And basically, mind you, there's a caveat to this that I would highly recommend you guys leave me a message, or just email me, or leave your comment, leave in the comment section below your emails, because originally we're selling this for $2,000, but now it's at $497. But we are going to be actually taking this down very, very soon, which is the reason why you should email me, because we have something that's coming out, and you probably don't want to miss out on this specific offer, because at the end of the day, prices are definitely going to go up. But anyways, if you guys on live, leave me your email, and we're going to contact you, and then we're going to work out a deal for sure. Okay. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about the articles. Okay. National Restaurant Association, and all these articles are in the comment section below, so that way you can actually read through it yourself. This article talks about National Restaurant Association releases coronavirus reopening guide to industry. So this is the article that we are talking about, and I just want to give you my 2 cents on this. And let's see, there you go. So basically this is telling us that we're going to be able to open up restaurants in Georgia. And basically these are the different guidelines that we need to have and follow in order for us to open up. And I think this is an amazing thing. The rules of the game have changed, and we need to change with it. And this is the guideline of the new rules. Then follow it and don't cut corners. invest in the different systems that are recommended, because, mind you, the government will come down, they will check you, and they will shut you down if you don't follow what they say, which is the reason why it is super crucial that you don't take and cut corners on this stuff, okay? They created all these guidelines for you, and I would highly recommend that you have processes and systems and handbooks that you follow and that you actually follow to the T. Do not cut corners with what they're doing, because I guarantee you 100% they'll come and audit. 120%. There's no way they're not going to cut. They're going to come. So make sure that if you are opening, that you definitely don't cut corners. Okay. So this is something that is super important, which leads to the second article, that chefs are complaining about, where it's too far along, too early that we're opening up doors. And that, here, let me share with you my screen so you can see the article. So these guys are basically saying the fact that we're opening doors too soon, and that, if you ask 100 chefs, pretty much no one's going to be opening up on Monday, and that they're just really bitter about people jeopardizing their crew and jeopardizing the public, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, to be honest with you, I think this guy's just being dumb. I really don't think that there's any problems with them opening up the restaurants. The rules of the games are there, okay? They're telling you that, we're going to be opening up. Then follow the rules of the game. Make sure that you have all the sanitary processes in place in order for it to be safe for people to come and dine in. At the end of the day, you still need to open up for delivery. So it doesn't matter if you open up a little bit more for dine-in. It's even better that you can adapt and actually adapt to what's happening. If, for example, that the government allows you to open and you don't open, you're just basically shooting yourself on the foot. And you're just complaining about left, right, and center. Us, as small citizens, the only thing that we can do, instead of going out to protest, is understand what the rules of the games are and play alongside with the rules of the games. Don't complain about the rules of the game, because there's nothing you can do to change it, right? If they tell you this is a real game, play with it, okay? There's no way that the government can shut down businesses for months to come. There's no way, because the economy will die, it will collapse, and there will be nothing back to come back to, and it would be much more prolonged problem. And I'm not saying that it out of the fact that I don't care about people's health and whatnot. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, hey, you know what? Let the professionals, let the people who know what they're doing and in their position to do their job. If they say that it's time to open, then open up. Then play along the rules. Have the proper hygienes, have the proper sanitary purpose, and have the different social distancings in place. And then do what they say and actually play along the same rules of the game. And this is something that we see in Asia doing exceptionally well. In Asia, countries like Hong Kong, they have one of the highest densities in the world. And yet, their cases of coronavirus are minimal. It is because, and yet all the restaurants are opened right now and people are dining in. It's like the new normal is happening. But, if, for example, if they're just complaining all the time and not opening, and they're just like fighting the rules, trying to you know what, I'm not gonna take this as something that I should do and adapt to, then there's no way they can recover. There's no way that people can go back to normal, and it just prolongs this whole process, which is the reason why, if you have the opportunity to open up shop. Follow the guidelines from this article, right? Follow the guidelines, exactly what they're saying on the left-hand side. And once again, we're going to put it in the description on the right. Follow the guidelines. Open up shop. Adapt to rules. And that's how we're going to be able to survive, okay? I'm super frustrated at this guy. I'm like, why? Why are you complaining? We can shut down, we flatten the curve, whatever the case may be. Frickin' just open up. Just do your thing. Last but not least, Toronto bakery get rid of Uber Eats after losing $6,000 in one day, okay? So this guy is basically complaining. I'll tell you a little bit about this guy. I'm just like, I'm over this guy, man. Pissed off at him. So this guy's just complaining about the fact that, you know what, Uber Eats is down and therefore they lost $6,000 in business, and they're being upset because Uber Eats is not really open for business. They have technical difficulties whatsoever, right? So at the end of the day, so basically it says Pike estimated that he lost $6,000 to $8,000 worth of sales because of and he's just upset about the fact that he can't reach anyone in Uber Eats. I'm not saying that Uber Eats is an amazing company. What I'm saying is that you are relying on another person's platform and you're complaining about that platform. That's why I've always been preaching. You need to do what is in your control. Have your own processes, your own systems, your own platform in order for you to have the most control. You can't blame someone else for what they're doing because it's their thing, it's their business, and you're just using their service. You don't have to use it. Why are you complaining? It doesn't make sense to me. But on a good note is the fact that he was actually able to find DoorDash to be able to help him out instead of Uber Eats. And this is something that I do really appreciate, is the fact that DoorDash is... Here you go. Let me find out the DoorDash thing right here. There you go. So DoorDash is not taking any commission, guys. And something that the reason why we chose this article is because you need to know this. If you're on Uber Eats and if you are also dealing with DoorDash, talk to DoorDash. They're able to actually waive the commissions of their... There you go. They're helping us out with 0 commission, and 100% tips would directly go to our staff. This is what they're doing with DoorDash. And this is something that I highly recommend, if you guys are watching this live, to go and call DoorDash right away to negotiate 0% commission. And it's something that is super, super unheard of. I haven't heard of it before. And that's why I'm like, hey, if this is what they're offering and if they have success doing this, then freaking go ahead and do it right now. And on top of that, another amazing thing is that Uber Eats deliver only to 3 kilometers radius of the shop, but DoorDash delivers more than 7 kilometers. That's double the distance. So it's something that you guys should definitely hop on board right away. So don't complain about people's platform. Do whatever you can. Create your own platform. Create your own loyalty of your own people. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So that's it for the current events. Now we're diving into Q&A. Now ask your questions, guys, because we are going to blow by this like no tomorrow. Finally have time. Tommy, thank you once again. 25% max. The social distancing is still going on. That's right. We have Uber Eats. Do not care for them. JP. Oh my God. Nice. In Texas, restaurants can open at 25% Friday. We never close our ice cream shop. Just no dining. That's the right attitude, JP. Definitely. Okay. Now let's look at the questions that we have. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. I actually really enjoy reviewing all these articles with you guys because I usually try not to rant. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's necessary for you to actually know what my stance are on these different political issues or what's really happening within their industry. I don't like to rant because I think it's really pessimistic. There's really not much we can do to control it, which is the reason why we do things in our own control in order for us to actually control our own destiny. And that's kind of the way that I like to live. That does not mean I don't have opinions. Of course I have opinions, and I only share it with you guys because I know that, you guys would take it in good faith that, hey, you know what, it is what it is. Okay, hey Jason, questions?
Yeah, it's all there.
It's on there. Okay, first question. Ewan, hey Wilson, I'm planning to open a restaurant in Toronto. Is there any practitioners you can recommend, affordable ones? I assume you mean any managers that can help you out in creating a restaurant in Toronto. I don't know of anyone specifically in Toronto. However, one thing that I do know is that there are a lot of associations that have consultants that you can reach out to, and that they can provide some help. Alternatively, you can go through our course. We have a course that's $497, and it has everything that you need in order for you to open up a restaurant. So definitely check it out. But aside from that, I really think that for you to actually open a restaurant, it really is trial and error. You need to do majority of the heavy working. The only thing that I can provide is our framework of what we have done in the past and what is working, some of the templates that we have used, which proves to be super effective. Because at the end of the day, running a business and starting a restaurant, there's really no one to tell you the actual structure of what works and what doesn't work. You're basically, for anyone that has ran a restaurant, or actually, you know what, for that matter, for those of you who are here, how many of you guys run a restaurant, and how many of you guys don't have a framework that you're following and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it? And I would say 10 out of 10 people don't have a structure to follow, which is the reason why I created that course, is so then that way there's a structure, there's a template to follow, and basically you follow through every single step, and majority of the time you're going to be able to see some true success. So hopefully that answers your question, Yuan. Kelvin Liang, hey Wilson, what's your opinion on frozen food, ready to eat food in the future? Hey, I'm really bullish on that. Okay, I'm actually bullish as in it's a very investing term, but I'm very I see that it has a lot of potential, frozen food and ready to eat food in the future. I have a friend who runs a frozen food ready to eat facility out in Vancouver, and they cater to all the senior homes, and it is a huge market. This guy does more than 8 figures a month, guys. 8 figures a month, catering to senior citizens and creating frozen food, ready to eat food. I think that that's definitely one of the futures, because a lot of people are gearing more towards health cautious items. They're more caring about what's in their food. They're caring about having a proper balanced diet. They're caring about what they ingest. But then yet on the other hand, what prevents people from actually doing that and ingesting good food is because they lack the discipline to do meal prepping. They lack the discipline to do the research themselves. So if you can actually create frozen food or ready to eat items that have the convenience, yet it has all the stuff that people are looking for in terms of the taste wise and in terms of the nutrition value wise, then you're definitely in a really good spot, because it really hits your customers' needs. So hopefully that answers your question. Does that make sense, Calvin? Or do you want to follow up to that? Let me know in the comment section, okay? JP, so with businesses down almost 80%, should I make a small, under $15,000 investment in new digital menus? Digital menus. Hey JP, so I know that your business went down by 80%, and you're saying digital menus. What exactly do you mean by that? Does it mean that you're revamping your website, so then that way you can have delivery as an option with platforms like Talk for delivery? Or are you talking about just taking better pictures and throwing it online? Or are you talking about dealing with third-party apps? Can you elaborate on that question a little bit more? This is a really good question, by the way, and it's really tactical and a lot of strategy that can go behind what you're saying. So elaborate as much as you can, so then that way I can give you as much context as possible. In the meantime, I'm going to answer the next question while you type and elaborate that question a little bit more. Jonah, hey there, I'd love to hear your opinion on how much value a small town cafe restaurant would get from social media and a modern website. Like what would be a fair price to charge for a website, story-driven commercial for their channel, 30 days of social media content? Hey Jonah, so basically your question is, if you're in a small town and you have a cafe, how much does social media and how much does a website do for your restaurant? Well, if you're in a small town, it is crucial and it is essential for you to have a really good SEO presence online. It is crucial for that. And part of the reason why is because more than 80% of people who dine, they go online and they check and they search for example, best ice cream in Vancouver. More than 80% of people that actually dine in, they actually check that. And out of the 80% that check, more than 60% of that 80 goes on that restaurant site to see whether it's something that they enjoy and whether it's something that they want to actually go to. Having said that, in a small town, if you don't have website presence, if you don't have social media presence, and if you don't dominate specifically within your niche, if it's barbecue joint, then you don't have that presence and you're losing out on a ton of traffic that would come. Whereas if you are one of the best barbecue joints in town and you dominate all these different keywords, you dominate it through your website, you dominate it through SEO strategies, you dominate it through your social media, then you can truly be able to dominate any tourist or any of the traffic that is coming in town, or even locally within your small business, within your small town, that people will always know you for the best barbecue in town. So which is the reason why you should definitely invest in a website and definitely invest in having good SEO for your niche specifically. You talked about what is a fair price to charge for a website. You know what? You can go to upwork.com to find, or fiverr.com to find different people to do a website. I would say anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 is a pretty fair price for a website, and that's on the low end, by the way. Some of my sites, they cost $4,000 to $5,000, and on more, I guess, e-commerce sites, we're looking at more than like $10,000, right? So it ranges like a lot, but actually, that's a very good question, because we just made a video on the 9 different must-haves for your website. 9, is it 9 or 10? Is that out yet, the video?
No.
Okay, so we actually just made a video on the 10 or 9 essential items that you must need for your website. And your restaurant website. So definitely check out that video, and that's what a lot of people are missing in their websites, and it's something that I truly think would make a difference. Story-driven commercial for their channels, 30 days of social media content. 30 days of social media content would go anywhere from, I would say, $600 to $1,200, something along the lines of that. So definitely just go on my YouTube channel, dig out all the information. We talked about how to create 30 days worth of social media content for free. Why don't you do it yourself? Check out some of the videos there. Hopefully that answers your question. Calvin, thank you for your feedback. JP, the in-store TV menuing. At this moment in time, JP, I wouldn't really invest in-store TV menuing, because I don't think the ROI is there. The return on investment would be there. The traffic that is coming to your in-store is going to be little to none. You don't want to invest, and this is a nice to do expansion project. Okay, so we identified some of in the previous presentation, earlier in the presentation, we talked about identifying your different types of expenses. This would fall into an expansion project, which is an amazing alternative, but at this point in time, it's an expansion that is not needed. It's not going to drive direct ROI right now in today's age. If I were you, I would spend the 15, actually, you say we offer online ordering on website. Great. Online order, Facebook, and adding Instagram. That's great. Spend the $1,500 that you have right now on Facebook ads or Instagram ads, and drive people to your website. Tell people that you're around and that, you know what, they can order from you, that you're open for delivery. Because a lot of customers right now, they don't know that you're in business. because they think that you're closed for business throughout this whole crisis. This is something that is really, really common amongst all the friends that I have, because I asked them, I'm like, hey, you know what? Have you guys tried this restaurant yet? They're like, what? They're open? I didn't even know about that. I thought they were closed. Which is the reason why, if I were you in your shoes, I would spend the money to create really amazing ads on Facebook, on Instagram, and then tell people that we're open. We have family meals. We have these combos. Come and link them to your website, link them to your Instagram, link it to your Facebook, and then allow them to order right away. And last week we did a presentation on Instagram. Instagram actually has a new feature that allows you to actually order right from Instagram. So definitely check those items out, and do not do your in-store menu upgrade right now. There's not enough ROI. Wait until times are good. Wait until you have tons of traffic coming in, and then work on these nice to have things. Reserve your cash flow. Invest in things that gives you direct ROI right now, because the more cash that you have coming in, the more cash flow that you have coming in, that prolongs your lifeline, that prolongs the time that you can be in business, and that's crucial in today's time. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense, GP? Ali, I do agree that maybe frozen food or ready to eat could work out, but as a new food awareness, people start avoiding processed food. Ali, I agree with you 100%. And what I'm talking about specifically in terms of frozen ready to eat food is that it's not truly processed, because my friend that I was sharing with you that is doing 8 figures a month, they do fresh food and they blast freeze the food right away. So it's not truly processed. It's actually good food that people are ingesting. And that's the reason why he was able to land so many different senior homes, because senior home people, they don't want food that is processed. They don't want Hungry Man. They don't want the food that is like mass produced by the big box companies. They want food that is actually nutrition and value. They want real food, and which is the reason why they actually cut up real food and they blast freeze everything, and then they serve it. And that has been proven to be super successful for them. And they need to pass through a lot of different legislation and a lot of different hoops in order for them to actually serve and win the contracts from the senior home. So definitely avoid processed foods and really go for the really true good food. But really good point, Ali. E-marketing is very important no matter where you live. Totally. I 100% agree with you. Even more so important if you're in a small city. SEO is super important, because just imagine you going to a small state for traveling, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know what? I don't know what else to get in to eat here. Let me just Google what's good, the best food in Winnipeg, or whatever the case may be. And if you show up in the top 2, you're gonna win their business. Easy as that. Tommy, is this a good time to open a new restaurant? Tommy, this is one of the best time to open a new restaurant, and I'll tell you 3 reasons why. First thing is because rent is exceptionally cheap, okay? And as a landlord myself, one of my biggest worry is the fact that I have an empty unit that I don't know how long it's going to be empty for, because every single month I'm paying thousands of dollars in this empty unit. And what does that incentivize me to do? It incentivizes me to give really good terms for potential clients, for potential people who are signing up with us. And I've heard of one of my clients that got more than 1 year, okay? 1 year of free rent at this time. You have so much more leverage power during this time, which is the reason why it is an amazing time to open up a new restaurant. Second thing, and the second reason why it's such a crucial time to open up a new restaurant, it is because the rules of the games have changed. And what that means is, for the people who have been dominating throughout the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they are no longer dominating. They're no longer miles ahead of you. It is because the habits have changed. Once the habits change, everything is reset, which is the reason why, if you have the proper technique, if you have the proper foundation, the proper structure, now is a good time to enter into the market to build upon the new rules. which allows you to actually excel and not be biting dust all the time and actually following the footsteps of other people. Now is an amazing time. And third of all, now is a great time is because everyone else is sleeping. How many of your friends are being couch potatoes at home, not doing anything, drinking, smoking up and doing all this crazy stuff and just waiting for time to blow by? And playing, Animal Crossing. Dude, majority of the people are sloths in today's age because they're just waiting for this whole thing to blow by. How many of you guys are actually doing what you need to do in your control, in your power to step ahead of other people? The crazy thing is, more than 90% of the people out there are just chilling. They're not doing anything. While the 10% are working on building their business. So, what does that mean? When things are right again, when things are back to so-called normal, you're going to be 10 times ahead of other people because everyone else is sleeping. Everyone else is struggling, which is the reason why now's the time, an amazing time to build a new restaurant. Hopefully that answers your question, Tommy. Let me know if it makes sense, Tommy. I don't know if I elaborated well enough for you. And you guys feel free to pitch in as well if you guys feel for anything. Christian, hey Wilson, what tips do you have to utilize Instagram to gain additional clients? It's okay, you just answered. Oh, okay. Tell us more about blast freezing on a small scale. How small can the scale be with such tech? Okay, so Christian, tips to utilize on Instagram to gain additional clients. Definitely check out on my YouTube channel. We have a few different videos about creating 30 days of social media within a day. Dude, there's so much resources out there to do that. On my channel, we cover a few different videos. Definitely check that out. Blast freezing on a small scale. To be honest with you, I don't know specific tech within your area. One thing that I know is that you can actually go out and just Google different big time facilities, and you don't need to buy your own blast freezers for that matter. You can actually license it out from these guys. You can actually tell them, hey, you know what? I want to have a contract. I want to be in your facility once every week or once every 2 weeks, and I'm going to make a batch of this, and I want to utilize your blast freezer. How much would it cost? And negotiate a term with them. I've seen a ton of success for people actually approaching big facilities like that, and the reason why is because a lot of these big facilities, they're not really optimized to their biggest potential. And basically, in big facilities, they make their money by running the machines 24/7. So if your production line does not have that much demand, then that means you're not making as much money. So which is the reason why they're incentivized to lease and sublease part of their equipment to you for use. And depending on where you are, just Google basically food plants or food manufacturing processing 10 kilometers radius from your city, and you're going to be able to find them, call them, and negotiate a deal with them. Ali, I'm from Boston. There are so many restaurants and store closed, and it's scary. Dude, I know it's scary. I 100% agree with you. From Vancouver, I drive down Robson. All the stores and all the restaurants, they actually have boards nailed down because they don't want people to loot them. So yeah, it is scary, but are you gonna let fear stop you from progressing? Because at the end of the day, fear is just in here. It isn't reality. Just because they're closed doesn't mean people aren't thriving. Roughly 10 to 15% of the businesses out there are thriving in today's age and today's time. Food delivery apps are thriving. A lot of different restaurants who are catering and playing that game are thriving as well. I just did an interview with Mark Canlis, Seattle, one of the best restaurants in the world, top 50. They went from fine dining, serving average order value of $130, to doing drive-through, selling burgers at $13 average value. They used to sell 1,300 units a day, and today they sell 1,300s as well. And they're on track to do the same amount of revenue as they were doing in fine dining. And they employ more than 100 people. So just imagine how well they were able to adapt to this environment and how well they're actually able to make it work for them. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because, and you can actually check out the interview, and it's super insightful to give you guys some sort of I guess comfort and affirmation to know that yes, it is scary, but on the other end as well, there are people who are thriving. It's your choice to whether you want to live in fear or you want to take things in your action and do something that you can do about it. And which is the reason why I'm doing this, which is the reason why I'm sharing a lot of these strategies and tactics with you in order for you to actually know that it's okay to be scared, but it's also okay to do something about it. So hopefully that makes sense, Sally. Hey Gio, what are your income sources? These are the last two questions that I'm having with you guys because I need to head into my next meeting. Well, I do e-com. I used to run a ice cream shop. Now it's an ice cream chain of 7 different locations, and we just sold that. We just got it acquired. So that used to be one of my incomes. I have an event production company. And so then we do consultation. We have a restaurant course, and that's doing well. And so basically, I do what I really enjoy, and I do what I'm good at, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. It's like, hey, give you guys some confidence to do what you need to do. And then we also have some properties as well, so multiple different sources of income that we're looking at. Axel, and if you guys have any other questions, leave in the comment section below. Hopefully that way, Jason, we can answer it next week or whatever the case may be. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys do, because I'm going to be sharing a lot more tips, strategies with you guys. Last question, Axel, any tips, ideas on how to make money and save in order to open a business during this time? Well, this is essentially the whole essence of this presentation, is to identify all these different things. If you don't have a business already, or let me share this with you guys, okay? Hold on tight. Let me share this with you guys. Any other questions, leave in the comment section, guys. Let me share this with you. Okay, so if you don't already have a business, guys, and if you're just looking at your personal, identify your own personal expenses. Identify that, because this allows you to see, once again, how your cash balance is like in your personal life. Anyone that is owing you money, it could be the government, it could be your friends, whatever the case may be. How is your cash flow like? How much money are you spending per month? Do you have insurance you need to pay? So on and so forth. How much are you spending per month? Are you spending a lot on rent? Are you spending a lot on food? Some of your fixed expenses, rental costs perhaps, some of the deferrals you can have, some of the fundings that you can have, LOCs, line of credits, inefficient assets, some of the stuff that's living in your garage that you want to sell, PS3s, PS4s, any stuff that you're paying, any subscriptions that you're paying on a monthly basis, any stuff that you're doing expansion. If you're not doing expansion, do you have a bunch of projects that you're working on that you can actually shelf and not do yet and actually save some cash? And then you can actually identify how your action plan is moving forward. And that applies to your personal life as well. Because at the end of the day, now that you have identified, hey, how much cash you have, how much you can save in the future, now you can understand how much you can afford to start saving in order to build a business. And that's the essence of what you need to do personally and in your business. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. Enough questions for today, because once again I need to hop on my next meeting. And if you guys want to, definitely leave us a message or check out the link below on our course 497. We're taking that down really soon, and so if you guys want to take the course, definitely check it out. We have all the templates, basically everything that we have done to build our ice cream chain that got acquired is documented in this course. And honestly, I'm not even selling it to make money. It's just to help you guys out. So once again, appreciate you guys. I will see you guys next week, next live. See ya.